Hi there and welcome to today's episode where I'm going to be talking about voicemails. What should you do if you hit a voicemail? Should you leave a message? Should you not leave a message? And if you are going to say something, then what the heck should you say? So let's start at the top. If you are not already using the phone as part of your sales strategy, then you need to, because you know what? Speaking on the phone or face-to-face is a great way to build a relationship. So don't be scared of the phone. So before you even pick up the phone, you should decide whether you're going to leave a voicemail if you don't get to speak to the person that you want to. Don't be surprised, because surprise, that means we end up leaving a really terrible message that we never intended to. There are two different types of calls that you will be making. The first are unexpected calls, and these are calls where potentially someone isn't actually necessarily anticipating your call. The second is the expected call. This is the booked call, the call that you've agreed, the call that's in their diary. And of course, expected calls are where we always want to get to in sales. But in real life, we might not start there. So what do you do when you get a voicemail and the person isn't expecting your call? So with your voicemails, it's all about being ready for it. And if this is an unexpected call and they aren't expecting your call, then you might want to think about not leaving a message. And the reason for that is if you haven't actually left a voicemail, they don't know what you're calling about. And actually, it gives you permission to call back at another time. So I would really recommend, if this is an unexpected call, that you wouldn't actually leave a voicemail in the first instance. And in fact, that means that you can ring a few times. And if you finally get through to somebody later that day after 3, 4, 5 attempts, then you can just say, oh wow, I'm so pleased I've caught you. I've called a few times. Brilliant. So what you've actually done is acknowledge those calls, which, let's be honest, especially on a mobile, they're probably going to have seen, but you're moving straight past it. Now, if you don't do this, and if you do leave a voicemail, then the challenge behind that is twofold. The first thing is if they listen to your message and they don't ring you back, that tells you something. It tells you that they don't want to speak to you. So they know that you know that they don't want to speak to you. So actually, it makes you feel more difficult about calling back. And also, you start to think, well, I've left a message, like, how long should I leave it? How long should I leave it? It's a bit like that whole thing, you know, when you go on a date with a boy, you go on a date and they say, we'll call you. And you're like, okay, great. And you sit by your phone and it doesn't ring. And it doesn't ring. And it doesn't ring. And eventually you think, oh, this is ridiculous. So you call the boy and it goes to their voicemail. So you leave a message and the message is always terrible. It's always something like, hi, we went on a date. You were going to ring me and you didn't, and probably you're very busy. I just want to make sure you have my right number, which is this. Be great to speak to you again. Bye. And you put down the phone and you think, oh my God. And now you've got to sit and wait. And it's super awkward now, because now what happens if you bump into them at the pub? I mean, you've got to be like this, haven't you? So the point is that actually, if you leave a voicemail, you're passing the control to somebody else. And in an unexpected call situation, you probably don't want to do that, because people don't know you. They don't know what you're calling about. They're fairly unlikely to ring back. Now, you can up your odds here, and I'm going to give you a trick about this when we talk about leaving an expected call message. But I would suggest in the first instance, for first contact, you know what? Don't. Just keep ringing. Sooner or later, you'll get to them. Because, the other thing they can do, they can hit that block button. So if you leave a rubbish message and they think, I don't want to speak to you, they can literally just block your call. So don't leave a message, just keep calling. Okay, so let's talk about expected calls. They're expecting your call. That's amazing. So you've already set it up that they're going to speak to you. So you call them and they don't answer the phone. Oh, and you think, no. We had this in the diary. This was the next step in our sales process. I really want to speak to you. What are you going to do? Okay, so if it's an expected call, I think you should do something different. I think you should definitely leave a message, because if this is an expected call that you've agreed, then actually you need to leave a message so they know that you called them as you'd agreed. So what should you say on the message? There's a few things that I would really recommend. The first thing is you're going to be BBA. That is bright, breezy and assumptive. And you are being bright, breezy and assumptive about the fact that they want to speak to you and you have this in the diary. So you need to be really assumptive about that. The second thing is you need to be very clear about your message. So before you pick up the phone, you might even want to write this down just in case this happens to you. And the third thing is you need to make sure that you keep control of the sales relationship. You keep control of the next step. So my recommendation is that you leave a very brief message that says something like, "Hi, it's Victoria. I'm calling as we agreed." So the first bit of the message is just emphasizing who you are, first name only. This is about a relationship. It's Victoria, I'm calling as we agreed. So you're emphasizing this was an expected call. We expected this person to pick up the phone when we called them. We were picking up today about XYZ. So just a quick reminder for them, what was the call about? Just to jog their memory. People are busy, they forget. So let's help them by jogging it. If you'd like to call me back, I'll be at my desk for the next 15 minutes and you can get me on da-da-da-da-da-da. That's really important because what you're doing is you're time binding. You're saying, look, my time is precious just as yours is. And this is the window of opportunity that we have to speak together. So give me a call within that window. If I don't hear from you, then I'll book this straight back in my diary and I'll give you a call at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Alternatively, let me know if a better time would work for you. What I'm now doing is I'm taking that control back by saying, great, so I am going to ring you at this precise time. It's going to go in the diary. It's a real thing. And let me know if that doesn't work for you. So they have to proactively get in contact with you if that time isn't going to work. What's great is, and what I always do, is I would always follow that up with a diary invite for that time the next day. That can be really helpful as well because if they're unexpectedly out of the office, then quite often people's emails are either monitored or alternatively you might get a bounce back out of office, which gives you a bit more insight into what's really going on. The key thing here though is to take control and be prepared. Should you leave a message or should you not? Make sure that you've planned how you want to handle this before you actually end up in that situation. Thanks so much for watching and I would love it if you were to join me again. If you would like to do that, then just hit the subscribe button and remember to ding the bell and you'll get a notification every time we post one of our tip videos. And until then, just remember to be sales-tastic.